People. Welcome to another episode of Filmy Thoughts. If you haven't already, press that subscribe button. We are on lockdown right now. Lockdown. Haven't been able to go to the cinema for a week. Not out of choice. I've been forced not to go. Then over the weekend, they're talking about shutting down the gym. I'm done out here. Look, my arms are getting smaller as peak. Anyway. Anyway. Since everyone's at home, no access to cinema, you've got loads of old school films. Probably at your fingertips if you have Sky, if you have Virgin, online. I'm sure you've got loads of people that go on the dark net to find films. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to give you like my top 10. My top 10 films of all time. At the time of me writing the list. Because some might pop into my mind. And this is in no order. So don't come at me, don't cause no problems. I don't want no problems. I want the quiet life. But we're going to start with, again, this is not in order, but we're going to start with Home Alone. This is a film that I watch every Christmas, and I've been watching every Christmas. It is a ritual for me to watch this every Christmas. Love the film. I feel like a child again. I just see the big old house. I see the snow. And I think, yeah, this is a good film. It's funny. It's an adventure. It's about a child who manages to evade two robbers. And he saves his neighborhood because these two robbers are going through his whole neighborhood, his whole road, and robbing all the empty houses. They then try to rob his house because the house is supposed to be empty. His family's gone on holiday and left him behind by accident because he was a naughty boy the day before. And he manages to basically capture the robbers and save the road, which is good. It's a good film, a nice family film. So if you've got kids, sit down and watch it with them. Yeah, simple things. Then we move on to an animated film, but it's not for kids. It's actually a 15. And the film is called 9. There's not a lot of people that know about this film. I say 9 as in the number 9. Yeah? Look it up. The film is phenomenal. Right? I wasn't even supposed to watch this film. I was bored. We literally closed our eyes and just picked a film and we went to go and watch it. Found out it was an animation. It's a 15. It's the last thing I was expecting. Film was amazing. Basically, there are 9 elements to the human body, the human mind, the human soul, right? And we follow number 9, hence why it's called 9. We follow number 9 as he tries to find his purpose in life and to find where he belongs. And he belongs with the other 8 elements. And then they come together at the end. It's a cool adventure because it takes him through different parts of life that people experience on a day-to-day basis and go through as they grow older. Very interesting film. I'd highly recommend it. Go get that. Okay. Now we move away from animation. This is my 3rd favorite film of all time. Everyone should know this film. It's Avengers. Fucking love that film. The action, the comedy, the little bit of romance, the bossiness from all of them, how all the characters gel, and how Marvel was able to make sure that each character got enough screen time, which I think is dope. I love the film. My favorite part in that film is when Hulk changes in real time. That is the bossiest moment I think I have ever heard or seen in film. Hands down. He's just walking towards the enemy. Everyone's looking at him like, yo, why aren't you changing? He just turns back and says, I'm always angry, brethren. Off! I love that film. People might be watching this now thinking, right, this guy's got this coronavirus thing because he keeps coughing. And I don't know, to be honest. I can't say yes or no. I'd like to say no. I don't think I have it, but my throat is feeling a bit mad. Is what it is. We move on to number 4. Again, not in any order. Men of Honor with Cuban Gooding Jr. and Robert De Niro. Whew. phenomenal film. Men of Honor. Got to watch that film. Made me shed. It has made me shed a tear numerous times. Film is cold, cold, cold. Old school. Back in the 90s, I believe. It was made back in the 90s, but the film is set way back when, in the 1920s, I think. Cuba Gooding Jr., who is black, he decides he wants to enlist in becoming a diver. And obviously diver is very male, very Caucasian, right? And they don't like black people. So he decides to take on all that adversity and make sure that he qualifies, even though the people teaching him are doing all kinds of things, and I mean all kinds of things, to try and get him to either quit, lose his head, or commit suicide. Or there's a couple stunts in there where even tried to kill him, yeah? And he still keeps going. He still keeps going through all of that adversity, all of that struggle, all of that pain, all of that frustration, all of that anger, all of that hurt, to make sure that he qualifies as a diver. And in doing so, he actually gains the respect of those people that had been putting him down throughout the whole course. Even turning one from a blatant racist into a friend, to make him understand things. I thought it was really dope. Men of Honor, go and check that film. Number 5, sticking to the whole racial thing. Another film, again, that has made me shed a tear. And this one was, I was probably bawling. This was years ago. I can't watch it again. I've only seen this film once, and it's not something I want to sit down and keep watching and embracing. And that is Green Mile. And that features Tom Hanks. You've got to know who Tom Hanks is. I mean, come on. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. The film's just cold, man. Film's just cold. Touch me bad. Green Mile. Got to watch that film. Again, that's a 90s film, I think, or early thousands. But what a film. What a film. Brief synopsis on that film. Basically, Tom Hanks, who is a prison guard, he then takes on a prisoner who has been accused of murdering 2 little girls and raping them. So obviously, back in the 1920s, 1910s, everyone is extremely racial. They don't like black people. And this guy, and they're in the deep south as well. So this guy, and he's a huge guy, comes in. He's black as they come, like really black. So he's not even fair skin. He's dark skin. So you know, he gets the worst of it, and he's accused of killing 2 little white girls and raping them. So in prison, he keeps protesting his innocence. Tom Hanks makes a friend out of him, and then he realizes that this guy's actually an angel. This guy can do some special things in terms of healing people. He's very dopey, the black guy, mentally challenged, which makes him look more guilty, but in Tom Hanks' eyes, it makes him more human. So they go through a journey together, and he gets executed at the end. He dies, and that's when the tears start coming out. But it's like a 3-hour film. But it's a phenomenal film. If you don't know about that film, you've got to check it out. One that has just popped into my head. See, it's not even going to be 10. But one just popped into my head is Titanic. Leonardo DiCaprio. Kate Winslet. Got to watch that film. The cinematography in that film is no joke. It's no joke. No joke. It's a James Cameron film as well. If you know James Cameron, then that's good. If you don't, go and do your homework. But yeah, Titanic. Whoo! Cold film. Nice little romantic film. Quite a powerful film, actually, based on a true story on the Titanic. If you don't know what the Titanic is, you need to go and do your research. Just type it into Google, man. It's all there. Ship sinks 1908, I think, or 1918, one of the two, or maybe none of them, but back in what day? Yeah, it just takes you through the journey. It's the first ship of that size to go on a voyage from England to America, but it never makes it. One of the captains wants to try and make it before time, so he pays another captain to basically speed up. And as a result of that, they hit an iceberg. They didn't see it coming. Boom. Party done. Yeah? It's So that's number 5, even though it just came into my head. That's my bad. We'll move on to number 6, which goes back to the whole racism thing. Another film, again, that made me shed a tear. And that's The Help. If you haven't seen The Help, go and watch The Help. Really good film. It's, again, back in the 1930s or 40s. It's about black women working for white families as The Help. And they have to obviously put up with a lot of adversity. They have to put up with a lot of BS. They actually grow really strong bonds with the children, and the children really like the nannies, but the parents just see them as a piece of shit on the bottom of their shoe, unfortunately. Really bad times that they were living in. The point where my tears started running, I'll tell you. Yeah, basically it's based on a true story. And the woman who actually experienced it was telling the story. So it hit harder. But anyway, she was telling the story about how she used to have to walk through 3 fields or 2 fields in order to get to work. And one day when she was walking through a field, the property owner came up to her, put a shotgun in her face and said, "If I ever see you walking through here again, I'm going to kill you." There was some more profanities, racial profanities at the end of that sentence. Boom. So obviously I started to get mad now. I'm getting angry now. I'm thinking, right, how dare they? Like, what's going on there? But anyways, she continued with the story, and the ending of that story was that when she got to work and she told her slave master what had happened, he then went to that man and bought his land off of him so that she could walk to work peacefully for the rest of her life. That touched my soul. That touched my soul. That's when I just started, boom, I was gone. I thought that was such a nice and beautiful thing for that man to do, even though he didn't have to. Little actions of selflessness, sorry, is the word I'm looking for. Little actions of selflessness touches me. Deep stuff. I like that. So watch The Help. Go and watch The Help. It's a really good film. Thoroughly enjoy it. Now we're gonna get a bit lighter. We're gonna move on to number 7. I think it's number 7. Animation, Disney. I would say probably from a young age, my favorite film of all time. I think this, if I had to put it in order, this would probably be number 1, and that's Aladdin. I don't really need to say no more on that. I'm not talking about the real time one that came out, I think, last year. Had Will Smith in it and was directed by Guy Ritchie. I'm talking about the original animation back in the 1990s. I will tell you the story, but you must have seen the most recent Aladdin at least, so you should know what the story is. It is basically the same, but it's very different. You see, with the Lion King, the new Lion King was the exact carbon copy of the animated Lion King. That's why it was so shit, and there was no imagination. It was whack. Whereas the new Aladdin and the old Aladdin, same storyline, but very different. Different personalities, different jokes. Everything is different. Highly recommend it. I'm sure you've all seen it. Go and watch it. Then we move on. We're going to stick with animation. This is another film that made me shed a tear, though. I think I've spoken about this numerous times in previous videos, but that is Coco. Powerful, powerful film. Powerful film. And it's based on a Mexican family and the Mexican tradition of life after death. And the fact that as long as you are remembered in the real world, you will live forever after life. But once you are forgotten, you then start to disappear. So one of the family members, their granddad, starts to disappear in the afterlife. So they somehow manage, they have a Day of the Dead or something, and he comes back through to speak to his grandson. And his grandson embarks on a massive journey to... grandson or great-grandson, but yeah, on a massive journey to try and figure out and to make people remember him, because he is being forgotten as a result of being stabbed in the back by his friend. That's it. But excellent film, good adventure. That's a good family film. You should watch that with the kids around. I'm sure they've probably seen it already, to be fair. So let's move on to the next one. I've heard that this next one, I have heard that there is a second one coming out. I don't know how true that is. but I'm hoping there is because I really like this film. It's got Tom Cruise in it and the lady from A Quiet Place. I think she's beautiful, but I can't remember who she is now. And I like her. She's a really good actor or actress. Sorry. But anyway, the film I'm talking about is Edge of Tomorrow. I love this film. I don't know what it was about this film. I just really thoroughly enjoyed this film. I would highly recommend it to anyone. What's the film about? Basically, an alien invasion takes place. There's some animals that appear, and they have the power. If you kill them, and it gets into your system, they have the power to rewind time. That's why they're able to dominate so many worlds, because if they die, they can rewind time, know that that's going to happen, and then change the outcome of the future. So when Tom Cruise goes out for war, he basically kills one of the main ones and the blood gets on him. So he then rewinds time. So he knows what's going to happen. He's trying to change the future. And that's what the film is about. Really good film, engaging, bossy as well. The lady in the film, you know what? 1 second. I'm going to find out who that is. Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt. That's her name. That's her name. Yeah. So she does really well in this film. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I hope there is a second one. It made perfect sense, even though it was quite complex. Whenever films talk about time, that's when my head usually scrambles. But I got this one. It made perfect sense. Now we move on to comedy. I've noticed I've spoken about 8 or 9 so far, and we haven't spoken about no comedies. Films very rarely make me laugh. Very rarely make me laugh. I think there's probably been 4 films that I could walk out and say was hilarious. One of them is Tropic Thunder. Oh my days. It's a star-studded film. It's got Robert Downey Jr. in it. It's got Jack Black in it. It's got Ben Stiller in it. Tom Cruise makes an appearance in it. It's a star-studded film. It is an incredible film. I think Tom Cruise's acting in that film is the best acting I've ever seen from him, by the way. Robert Downey Jr. as well. His acting, it's just a hilarious film. Hilarious film. It's about actors who are basically filming a film in Vietnam, but what they don't realize is they've actually been dropped in a real war. And they're trying to make this film while ducking what they think are fake bullets and fake explosions, but it's a real war. Film's hilarious. The film is hilarious. Speaking of another hilarious film, let me see if it's on my list. Oh, it is on my list, and it was next anyway. Sticking with comedy, Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. Got to watch that film. That's an old school film. That's back in the 1990s as well, I think, or early thousands. But that film had me twisting up throughout the whole film. Incredible film. Got to watch it. Very funny. Don't watch it around kids. Actually, if it's a 12, I think you could watch it around kids. There's a lot of adult jokes in there. So maybe it will go over their heads. So might be safe there. Might be safe. Another hilarious film. Moving on. We're definitely at 10 or 11 now. Let me see how many more there are. There's only 2 more after this. So you lot can stop hearing my voice. But I nearly finished. The next one's Longest Yard. Funny film. Funny film. It's got Nelly. It's got Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, as well as some Goldberg, the wrestler. It's got some other actors in there as well. I'd say it's a star-studded film as well. Really funny. Really funny. Like, Adam Sandler's actually funny in this film. It's been a minute since he's been funny. Most of his films are actually poor. But this one's funny. This one is funny. Funny film. Highly recommend it. Don't watch it around kids. This is an adults funny film. Okay? Adults comedy. We move on to the next one. Let's see what the next one is. Ooh, this one's a bit more serious. This one's a bit more serious. I think you could have kids watch this, but again, I'm not sure. So please check the parental guidance. Don't say it's because I said so. Inception. Inception's in a league of its own, I think. Different kind of film from the ones I've mentioned as well, to be fair. But Inception was cold. I don't even want to try and explain this film to you because it is so complex. And I fear that you will be sitting here for another 10 minutes while I try and explain this film and you still wouldn't understand what this film was about. I get it though. One thing I do realize is people who don't like this film don't get it. I've had a few people who said they didn't like the film. So when I ask them what it's about, they're off the mark. They're off the mark. I'm not going to explain what this film is about, but basically it is about a belief that you can plant a seed in someone's mind if you go deep enough into their brain. And when you say plant a seed, it's like it is planted so deep within their psychosis that they really think it's their idea. So you planted a seed and it's grown, and now they think it's their idea. And that's what this film is about. Leonardo DiCaprio's in that again. I think he's made this list twice. So is Robert Downey Jr. So is Tom Cruise. Fair enough. Didn't even notice that. But yeah, go and watch that. Really good film. The last one. This one messed with me a bit. This one I don't really get as well, but I still thought it was a phenomenal film. And that's Interstellar. The whole concept of time, the whole concept of understanding space, those are the two things that mess up my head, like scrambles my head. And this one didn't disappoint. It done the same thing, but I understood it. And even weeks after I watched the film, I was still thinking about the film. I was still trying to conceptualize the premise of time due to this film. Really good film. Really good film. Have to watch it. Again, it's not something I'm going to try and explain because it's quite difficult to explain. But I will say to watch it. The graphics, the cinematography, again, it highlights things about time. I'll give you an example. There's a scene in this film which messed me up. So there's a scene in this film where they're outside of a planet and they need to go into this planet to get a beacon. So one of them stays behind and three of them go into the planet. They've already discussed that I think it was every 20 minutes works out as 5 years. Every 20 minutes inside the planet works out as 5 years outside of the planet. They ended up spending, I think it was half an hour or 45 minutes in the planet, which means the people who waited outside of the planet were now 15 to 20 years older. Cold. Cold. Really cold film. Interstellar. Got to watch that. That's it from me. I'm so sorry this was so long. Please forgive me. Whether it's the morning, the evening, the nighttime, the daytime, or the afternoon, whenever you're watching this, hopefully you're safe. And I'll speak to you guys soon, man. Oh, let me know what you think of these films as well. Let me know what your top 10 is as well. And if you made it this far, then thank you. Take care.